around the horn is too like lowbrow.
Oh,
You know,
he
yeah.
had to wait intellectual minds with you on Dodger Debate.
I still don't like the title of this show.
Hello and welcome back to Dodger Debate. One more time here from Tokyo, Japan, and I'm going to call this the Tokyo Dome Club because we've upgraded our seating tonight, Dylan. The Dodgers just defeated the Chicago Cubs once again to complete a two-game sweep. They win 6-3 on a night that Roki Sasaki made his MLB debut. Quite a debut it was for 3 innings. Shohei Otani hit a home run, his first in an MLB game back here in Japan, and the Dodgers are going home with a perfect record, even though they didn't have Mookie Betts or Freddie Freeman in either of these games. Freddie Freeman didn't play again today. Dylan, what stuck out to you about tonight's game, about this trip, and just kind of where the team is at right now as they go back stateside?
Cubs really suck, man. They're a terrible baseball team.
We've watched 18 innings. We've talked about Japan is being painted blue, and your first takeaway is that the Cubs aren't any good. We knew that. We watched all of last year.
I know, but this is like Globetrotters and bringing on like the Washington. What do they call them?
Jeez,
What
the
is it?
Generals.
Generals, man. Like, I mean, at least like bring somebody to put up a fight. You know, I know. I mean, I guess they were hoping for Buster Douglas to strike light. You know, catch lightning in a bottle again.
I think they were hoping for Roki Sasaki to knock himself out. Actually, was kind of the game plan tonight.
Okay, but in all seriousness, I mean, look, this is, you know, we can kind of get into all the little things that are going to kind of decide where this season goes, you know. But the one thing, you know, to me is that at the end of the day, this was about Otani, right? Otani is the reason why this week was as big as it was. You know, Otani is the reason all this advertising exists here, right? Otani is the reason, again, you know. And I think at the end of the day, you could tell, right? The fans were here to see Otani, right? When he got intentionally walked that one time in an obvious, you know, empty base situation, the fans were very upset. They were here to watch Otani hit a home run.
They were upset when he got walked in an unobvious situation later by accident in the ninth inning.
Yeah, and you know, to me again, right, and the fact that he could, like, in that type of environment, right, knowing everybody's kind of here to watch him hit a home run, to actually be able to hit a home run, that's kind of what makes this guy special, I think, right? And again, you know, I think various sports, you know, certain sports, it's kind of, right, you have a basketball superstar, it's easier to kind of build a marketing thing around him. You know how it's going to go for the most part, unless the guy suffers like a devastating injury, right? Sure. You know, baseball is kind of one sport where it's tough, right? Because performances kind of fluctuate. You look at the All-Star team on a year-to-year basis, the turnover on these things is kind of crazy from year to year, right? You know, you check out an All-Star team from like 4 or 5 years ago. These guys are, you know, some of these guys are at the end of benches now just because, again, a little injury just kind of changes things. And the fact that you can kind of have this presence like this, right? I mean, it's kind of, you got to go back to, you know, Mike Trout when he had that stretch before he started getting injured. Before that, maybe like Barry Bonds, you know. But I think in both of those cases, you know, in Trout's case, you probably had
Albert Pujols.
right player in the wrong market, you know. And you know, you could argue obviously Otani earlier in his career was also in the wrong market. Yeah, because I mean, if Otani's playing with the Angels, this isn't happening either. You know, it's the right player, right personality. Because
it's not happening like this.
Right. Yeah. You know, and so to me, it just kind of, again, but it all, in the end, all these things, right? The fact that, you know, people think Otani's good looking or that he's charismatic or whatever it is. None of these things matter if he doesn't hit. And the fact that he can kind of continually create moments, to me, is just kind of, you know, I know we've talked about this. I mean, we were talking about this just a few days ago, right? I mean, this is just kind of, it's getting almost boring to talk about, but it's true. He just keeps doing the same thing, which is why I'm going to write the same column that I wrote 4 days earlier.
Inside how our night was going, Dylan did stop himself tonight mid-story. He goes, "Damn it." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "I'm plagiarizing myself from 2 days ago." But, I mean, it's true. I think it's even on like a game-to-game basis, right? Okay. I think one of the problems like baseball has being sold to a national audience, you know, as some sort of national TV product, some appointment viewing thing, is that even like players who are consistently good year over year over year it's hard to know when those moments will happen.
Right.
Like well, this is why Sunday Night Baseball's tough, because
Right.
you just you throw it on and it's just kind of random what's going to happen in any one game. And that's what is really interesting about this guy, especially over the last year now with the Dodgers, is just how consistently, like you said, he has delivered in these moments, and how he can. Dave Roberts described him as like a superhero tonight, and it's because it's just something that you don't see with players who can just tap into this mode. Where again tonight, like he comes up to the plate for the first time, and you tap me, and you go, well, he's going to swing first pitch here because he's trying to make it happen. And usually in baseball, I think we've talked about this last year, when you try harder, it typically is going to lead to worse performance. He's like the one player who can try harder on demand and also deliver the results. And it made for like one of the coolest moments, I think, of this whole week, him hitting that home run right there.
That's the thing too. Baseball, you're kind of limited by the at bats, right? I mean, you can't, Luka Doncic has an bad shooting night. Well, you can just keep shooting more,
Right.
And as a fact, even if Luka's shooting,
and he will,
right? Yeah, no, right. And he'll still score like 25 points, and as a fan, you're like, well, I got to see Luka Doncic scores 25 points,
right.
And you're right to your point. So many times, I think you kids, right, ask their parents, take me to a game, and it costs so much money these days, and you go, and your favorite player is like 0 for 3 with a walk. Yeah, it's cool that you got to see him, but you would rather see this. And everybody that was in this stadium tonight, and anybody who was at one of the various watch parties that were around the city,
shout out to the people in
that's what I
LA that
remember.
were up at 3 a.m. at Cosm last night. I didn't even see that happening, but that was cool.
Jeez.
All right, on the other end of the predictability scale,
Yes.
we have Roki Sasaki, who, you know what?
Shotgun Roki.
We were talking about this during the game. It's like he's a shotgun kind of pitcher in every sense of the word, because one, it's explosive when the ball's coming out of his hand, right? Like, it was actually fascinating to watch the start of this game. He comes out, he looked kind of nervous. They play this just like ridiculous hype video on the scoreboard minutes before he takes the mound about how he's the best young pitcher ever. He's Darvish, Otani, and Yamamoto rolled into one. Like, I think you were jealous of the kind of hyperboles they were throwing at this guy. But he comes out, he pumps 100, 101. He snaps off a couple splitters. He gets out of the first inning unscathed, and it's like, okay, this looks really good. And then suddenly the command goes away. He's missing arm side. He's putting guys on base. But it was all just kind of like fascinating, right? And the good news for the Dodgers and for him is that he got out of the danger. He was able to get out of the second inning on a double play. He only gave up one run in the third, even though he walked the bases loaded and then walked in a run and was behind in the count basically all night long. But the key moment for him in his start was at the end of that third inning with the bases loaded and one out. He's able to strike out Michael Busch with good fastball command and then strike out Matt Shaw with a couple sliders, which is a pitch we talked about could be really important for him this year, trying to adjust to the big leagues and have a third weapon to go to. What stood out to you just about like the spectacle of seeing him on the mound, seeing him here, and what you can take away from this as it pertains to the rest of his rookie season?
I don't know how this is going to go. Right, I don't know if he's going to be Doug Gooden or Bobby Miller, or just kind of someone that kind of bounces in between. But whatever it is, it's just fun to watch, right? And I don't think I'm just saying this just because I've been following this kid for a while or whatever. I really think, and again, he's right. He's got like an interesting, like nice, smooth delivery. Again, like you said, it's explosive. It's just he's really interesting to watch. I can't really.
He's grunting out there.
I would honestly, I would, and I know I'm going to catch. I can't. All the words that are coming are all bad words, so whatever. You guys can kind of figure it out. I know I'll take some flack for this.
like cuss words.
I know I'll take some flack for this, but I would rather watch him right now at least than like any player in baseball, and that includes Otani. Like I have not been this interested.
What did we just spend the first 10 minutes of the show talking about?
Well, I know that's like incredible too, whatever. But like in terms of just, I don't know. Like my eyes just kind of go to him in the way. Like I haven't watched the last time I was like this engaged in like a player's like every movement was Puig. And I'm not saying this as any kind of character judgment on Roki Sasaki, who by all accounts is a very soft-spoken, quiet, nice young man who's overcome great tragedy in his life.
That's true. You can read about it in the LA Times.
You can read about it in the LA Times. But it was kind of like, like when Puig came up, it was kind of like that, right? It's kind of, you didn't know what was going to happen. this just kind of this
Super-
otherworldly athlete, and that's the thing. I mean, with Sasaki, you look at that high kick delivery. Now, we did see one issue, right? Is that like he's slow to the plate. Man gets on first. They are going to run. I mean, this is just the beginning of this, right? This is against a garbage team, and they stole 2 bases like it was nothing, with a very overpaid manager, I think. But
Whoa. At least not the highest paid anymore.
Not the highest paid. But anyway, I just find him kind of fascinating, just because the even if he's throwing ball after ball after ball. I mean, he wasn't even getting close, right? I mean, these were not even.
They were non-competitive.
They were non-competitive pitches,
And even Craig Counsell said, right, like we forced him to throw strikes, and when he didn't, like stuff was happening, and he was in danger.
Right. That said, like he kind of back to the shotgun thing, right? A shotgun occasionally hits like he hits a clear target. And he would hit these pitches like right. I mean, the first inning he wasn't having command problems, but the obviously the pitch to Suzuki to strike him out in the first inning. I mean that thing was like unhittable. Yeah. And then even after those walk, right, when he kind of got those 2 punch outs at the end, some of those early count pitches even were like no one's gonna hit that.
Yeah.
And so to me it just makes it just kind of must see viewing. I think, assuming this kind of trends more positively than negatively, I think LA's going to fall in love with this kid. He's just interesting to watch.
Well, it's kind of like the anti-Yamamoto in some ways, right? Who's can be so precise and at his best so consistent. I think tonight we got an extreme version of Roki, right? Like this was obviously a very emotional setting. A lot of pressure on him, a lot of adrenaline. If there's a night where your command is going to be kind of wildly inconsistent, like it'll be in these kind of settings. But yeah, this is, I think, a good microcosm of how his season might look, which is like these moments of, it really is like, especially seeing him in person in a real game, in a non-spring training atmosphere, like it was really interesting. I thought the crowd, when he was struggling to get the ball over the plate and was in some tough situations, like they were kind of encouraging him almost. Like I thought that was a really interesting dynamic. And yeah, to me, like the big thing is that in that key spot in the third, it's not just that he got out of it, but he got out of it with the fastball command, showing some real progress with the slider, which up to that point tonight hadn't looked that sharp. And I think kind of showing Dave Roberts and his teammates in the organization, like, look, obviously there was a lot going on tonight, but in the moment where it really mattered at a key juncture in the game, he was able to execute pitches. And I think that's something that for all the different highs and lows he's going to go through this year, if he can do that in big spots and get himself out of some tough spots, like we saw it with Yamamoto early last year in some of the games where he did struggle, but was able to kind of limit damage and avoid really big innings after that first Korea start, that's so important as you're trying to adapt and figure out who you are at the MLB level. And to me, that was the biggest takeaway for me from him tonight.
You know what else was kind of cool this week, I thought, was that our co-host from last night, Dr. Neil Elatraj, really got his due. Taro Abe of the Chunichi newspapers wrote that Dr. Elatraj has hands of God. Not to overlook our colleague, Bill Plaschke.
You just want to keep, turning the knife on Plaschke not being here now?
No, Plaschke has been honored by the LA Press Club Lifetime Achievement Award.
Incredibly. And now...
And I think we got him there, right? He had not won this award
I was gonna say,
until he got on this.
Debate onto the
that was the last thing
list.
He had to check off.
That's right.
Right.
Because he hadn't done enough TV work or debating or anything like that.
No. Well, Around the Horn is too, lowbrow.
Oh, he had to win intellectual minds with you on Dodger Debate.
I still don't like the title of this show. I really don't.
Hey, we dropped the. Are you looking forward to your flight tomorrow?
Oh, it's going to be so bad.
Dylan's been, very sick this week.
I know.
If you can't tell by, just the waterfalls of sweat that have been coming down the sides of his head. But
I mean, it could just be I'm just like a pig.
All right, well, on that note, it was a fun week here in Tokyo.
It wasn't for me, man. I was just holed up in my hotel room, dying while you were out at capybara bars. This guy's sending me Hey, look at this video. Look at this capybara. King Taco, I'm coming back. Be ready.
Tommy's Burgers on Rampart. We're coming for you next Thursday at midnight because that's when the Dodgers home opener will be. They have their Freeway Series games against the Angels, but they will return home 2-0. And with a lot of, and I think this part's true, like a lot of cool memories for them and the organization, and I think the fan base too, either people that were here or people that were following along with everything that went on over here, because it was a big week, it was an exciting week.
Oh yeah, you know what I'm gonna miss about this place though? Is that I was like kind of like mildly famous here.
Mr. Oh, it's it's not my work that they like. It's just I'm around Otani.
Well, I do think that's true. I mean, people get famous by and I was a very good celebrity. I took pictures with everybody. I asked them.
I'm ending the show before Dylan indulges his celebrity anymore. If you see Dylan, do not come up to him. He is not famous. We are just messing around when we do this show, and we can't wait to do it again when we get back to the States.